Hi, everyone, and hi, Zia. Thank you for joining us this evening, all of you. And so we'll have about a 30-minute conversation and open for Q&A. And as you know, this is part of Ink Her series on 49 women that we are interviewing. And why 49? Because 49.6% of the world is women. So we thought till we get to
Oh, okay. That's
yeah, till we get to over 50%, we'll keep putting the 49 so people know where we are.
nice.
And so we're really fortunate to have Zia with us today, who is a well-known person in the legal world, but not just legal world, but in terms of bringing equity into this world in more ways than one. I'm not going to give a long bio. We'll have a conversation through which you'll get to know what Zia is doing, and then be open with your questions so we can have a idea. The idea is to have a very informal, insightful conversation about life, career, and future. And the idea of this book is that we really wanted to feature women from varied fields to be shown to the rest of the world, all from India or of Indian origin, from different fields. So it's sort of it's some already well known, some not so well known, some who should be well known, young, old. So it's sort of we have a spectrum of people. So the idea is that we'll just keep doing this every year. So we keep featuring women,
That's great.
and the idea is that mothers or fathers should read this as bedtime stories to their children, so they get to know about amazing women that are all over the world. So with that, I'll start the conversation. And Zia, I mean, you're obviously, we'll first talk about you being a lawyer because that's what you're known as. And but I wanted to start a little bit about, I'm sure you get asked all the time about the heritage, the legacy you come from in law, and it's not just any legacy of being I always used to joke with my father. My father was a pediatrician, that wherever I went, I was Dr. Tirumal Rao's daughter. And I said, I really want someplace where I'm just Lakshmi, So, and of course, I miss being his daughter now that he's not there. Being someone like a Soli Saurabji's daughter is a huge privilege, great school to go to, as well as a great, you know, uh, not burden, but like something to live up to.
Burden.
Burden. Okay, the burden. So it's sort of, I mean, tell me a little bit about what was it like growing in a household where law was more like a way of life? It was not just something that was practiced. So, as a child growing up, I'm sure law was your sibling as you were growing up. So, tell me a little bit about how was it like, and as a child, what did you observe and what did you learn?
Great questions, Lakshmi. We are four. I'm the eldest and the girl, and the rest of the three of us are boys. And Papa, when we were growing up, was growing up himself, climbing up the ladder very successfully.
Mm-hmm.
And it very often became Monday to Friday Supreme Court, Saturday, Sunday at home. But before that, we used to be on the dining table at night, never during lunch. Mummy was always there for the day after school. And there was that walkie talkie during those times, no mobile, and.
Mhm.
So Papa would, while he was gulping his food down, we would hear one side of the conversation about his matters tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Yeah.
talking to his solicitors, getting ready, telling them what he wanted, what cases he wanted. And it was fascinating the way he would bark out the instructions that were so perceptionally intensive to the matters. And he would have about 10 calls over dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
he had already been thinking that he's got these 10 matters tomorrow, and he knew exactly where the gaps were and where they had to be filled. And listening to that one side was fascinating because you sort of saw how the mind was ticking. You saw the logic and the complete intensity with which there was a conversation. And I think I naturally grew up in the law. First of all, I'm by nature argumentative, so that was a plus.
Uh-huh.
But then just the fascination of seeing what was happening, and then sometimes later when my father used to be part of the very big landmark cases, never
Mm-hmm.
really talked about it much at home, but you got to know about it from other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left for England and America to study.
Correct.
That
Correct.
is when, my father was peaking,
Yeah.
and I was studying,
Mm-hmm.
and I was studying law. And I remember my father telling my mother that he would like my brother, who came after me,
Mm-hmm.
also to study law.
Mm-hmm.
And she was very clear. She said, but Zia's doing law. So why do you want anyone else to do law? So
Mm-hmm.
she said, no, but he's the eldest son. And she said, nothing doing. He'll be a doctor. So he became a doctor. So she didn't want any competitiveness in the family, and she established that from day one. I think my brother still resents the fact that he was thrown out of being a lawyer.
Mm.
But dad, my father's aura was always more on how he would basically say how the right thing should be done. So when I
Mm-hmm.
came back from America and I came back to Bombay, he was already in Delhi. So I never really could junior with him for as much as I would want to.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I had a problem, which I had to touch base with, um, and that wasn't that often, but it
Yeah.
was a very, very fatherly phone call away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would say, I have this proposition. This is what is against me. I don't know how to counter it. And then he would say, think it through. What is your next step? He would sort of mentor me a bit. But the classic story that I have, and then I'll wait for your next question, is that I was driving to court one day and I was in court at 11 o'clock. And I had a judgment that I knew would win me my case. For the life of me, I couldn't get the citation in my head. In those days, you had to memorize.
Mm-hmm.
So I phoned my father and I said, Dad, I need this judgment. Babulal Khimji, I need the citation. I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking into Justice Variava's court. It's a slam dunk if I have this judgment. So
Mm-hmm.
he said, okay, so now I've become your secretary. I said, yes. Become secretary. So he said, okay, this is the citation. Go to the chambers. I was in his chambers in Bombay, even though he was in Delhi. Lakshmi gave me the citation. He didn't stop at that. He said, go to para X. I said, I went to para X. He said, it's on the right hand side of the page. I said, yeah, I see it. He said, 4 lines from the top of the para, you will see a dot. There was a
Mhm.
dot. That was the answer to my judgment.
My God.
So
My
then I
God.
stopped even thinking I could possibly complete. So I think what I learned from my father was attention to detail,
Yeah.
always having the correct authority and the jurisprudence to present to the court.
Mm-hmm.
And you develop a backbone of integrity,
Mm-hmm.
which is not because, it's a nice thing to do. Of course, it is a nice thing to do. But there is no option in my profession
Mm-hmm.
but to have that integrity, because once you lose it,
Yeah.
as my father said, you lie to the judge once, he lunches with all the judges every day. You're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the client, poor chaps, never came first.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
officer of the court that I was had to
Yeah.
come first.
Right.
So,
Right.
this is the legacy that I think I got from my father.
Now, did you know growing up that, I mean, obviously you heard all this. Uh, did you know that you wanted to be a lawyer when you were growing up?
Absolutely. I think it was just osmosis. I
Mm-hmm.
think I flirted for a half a year about being an air hostess. My mother basically said that you could do better in terms of just using your capability
Mm-hmm.
and being a lawyer. And after that, it was just law, 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 law along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I graduated in 1978 from
Mm-hmm.
America, from
Howard.
1976
Yeah.
in England. And
Mm-hmm.
we're in 2026.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's, quite a few years.
You went to you went to Oxford, I think, right?
Cambridge.
Cambridge, yeah. So you went to Cambridge, you went to Harvard. I mean, in those days, were there a lot of women? I mean, all the things we talk about now of being very few women in everywhere, I'm sure it was even fewer women at that time. So, or how was it,
Student,
or was it
Students were
not?
okay. There were women, not as much as you would see today in both the campuses.
Mm-hmm.
But coming back to India, which I did to get married, and then there was no foreign direct investment, so I had to go to court.
Mm-hmm.
There, Lakshmi, there were hardly any women who would open their mouth. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the tragedy today, which is something for Herky to look out
Right.
for and for you to look out for, is that at the council level, the women who argue, I
Mm-hmm.
would genuinely say that nothing much has changed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the top lawyers that you think of in the Supreme Court are
Mm-hmm.
men. And the
Mm-hmm.
one or two women that have made it have
Mm-hmm.
not made it as high as the popularity of the male senior counsel. Now, for the life of in corporate law, it's very different. In
Mm-hmm.
AZB, we have a lot of women, 37% of our partners are women. But in court, I think maybe it's just the nervousness, the diffidence that we have naturally as a woman. Maybe it's the pressure of the 100 men in the court who are waiting to see you make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The judges were always in Bombay very kind to women, or very kind to me.
Mm-hmm.
If I hadn't got a judgment right, they would say, come back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If they could push me along a certain direction, they would push me along that direction.
Mm-hmm.
There was mentorship from our judges, which,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've not gone back to court for many years, but
Right.
the ability of women to reach the pinnacle of success in the Supreme Court, even today,
Mm-hmm.
is unfortunately not really expanded.
Is that because not as many women are going into law, so the funnel itself has shrunk, or is it that they do get into law? I mean, like in the business world, the issue is at the beginning there's 50-50. By the time comes to women in their 30s, it just falls steeply. And then by the time child rearing age comes, it falls even more steeply. Is that the issue, or the funnel itself is narrow?
So I think there are two parts of it, right? There's litigation and then there's corporate practice, like us.
Correct. Correct.
Uh, in corporate practice, I do see a fall, but it's getting much better.
Mm-hmm.
Women are sticking it out. Women are asking for time off. Women are showing their commitment to come back. And
Mm-hmm.
it's because they love the profession.
Mm-hmm.
They genuinely love what they're doing. And they don't want the fact that they have to be mothers to
Mm-hmm.
take away from that. And then it's up to management to really guide them
Mm-hmm.
and give them the opportunity to take their space, but come back. And when they come back, they're so committed and grateful that
Right.
you've not lost a talent that you would otherwise want to lose.
Yeah. So
And then
then is it that not as many women are applying to law? Is that why there is?
no, again, there's a difference. In the council space, there are
Mm-hmm.
women who want to start, but along the years, they just don't get that glass ceiling to go away. In
Mm-hmm.
corporate law, it's better.
Mm.
As you say, it's 50-50. And as I tell you, 37% of my partners are women. That is the key,
Correct.
not how
Correct.
many lawyers are women.
Correct.
Great.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
But in court, it's still a sorry story. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just, it's just unfortunate. Even if you look at our Supreme Court judges, so
Mm-hmm.
few of them are women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's not that we don't have good women, but
Yeah.
the elevation is slower than the men. So
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's a conscious, subconscious bias. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe we just have to shout a lot more to get noticed.
Yeah. I mean, talking about that, you did talk about in the past that you made sure you were heard, So, what are some of the things you did to make sure you were heard? Now, I mean, and I want to preface that with, you come with a huge law pedigree, and like the chance of somebody knowing who you are fairly high. And if you yourself felt you needed to be heard, I mean, I can only imagine somebody who's never been in a law profession, never been familiar with it.
But it's
What
true,
does it do?
Lakshmi. The fact that I was my father's daughter certainly helped me in court,
Yeah.
certainly. But if you blow more than two or three chances, people are polite, but they won't brief you, right?
I mean, I do want to intercept saying that whatever your pedigree maybe will help you the first step. It doesn't help beyond that.
Not
Beyond
much
that,
beyond that. Not much.
that's for sure. But I'm saying for you being so familiar with it, and you yourself had to work hard to be heard. So what did it take? Is it that being better than anybody else, or taking tough cases, or what was it that you had to do to be heard?
Working harder,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
working more than your counterpart,
Mm-hmm.
charging less than your male peer,
Yeah.
making sure that the senior you briefed just thought it was such a delight to be briefed by you that he had to
Mhm.
do less work. You gave him relief.
Yeah.
And not being unwilling to argue sticky matters, which otherwise most people would have lost. And you
Mm-hmm.
would have probably lost it too, but you gave it such a fighting chance
Mm-hmm.
that the client thought, yeah, somebody really looked out for me as much as they could, but it just takes hard work. It's
Yeah.
just hard work.
Now, in your case, in the past, you spoke about how, I mean, you married famously the boy next door, and you knew yourselves all your lives, and you came back. Actually, that's a question I wanted to ask you. You know someone all your life. How do you know one day that, yes, this is the person I want to marry? Because you went away, came back, and you became friends again. Because I asked this question because one of the things I always say when I talk to people is that the one decision that can make or break your career is who you choose to marry, because that person can nag you to step back, or, be by your side. There's so many things that could happen. So, what was your decision in saying, yes, I want? It's not like you decided when you were 5, or maybe you did, but what was it that in that partner you saw that you said, we'll get married?
I loved him.
Yeah.
And, I knew that he would not be insecure about my career.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that he had a sense of pride about me.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, Lakshmi, he has for decades been my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
anybody can tell me what a jerk I am,
Yeah.
it's him. And you need that sort of partnership to feel confident, to feel secure.
Yeah.
Of course, there are times when, the poor guy can freak out to say, do I have a wife? Where
Yeah.
is she? Right?
Right. Yeah.
But at
Yeah.
that time, you sort of realize you're being stupid, you're overdoing it. You pull
Right.
back and you give your partnership and your marriage
Yeah.
full attention. But
Yeah.
I've never felt that he was insecure, that
Mm-hmm.
he thought that the spotlight of me doing well was a problem for him.
Mm-hmm.
He understood that I had to make sacrifices, especially with my children, which in hindsight maybe I should not have done so
Mm-hmm.
much,
Mm-hmm.
and I could have done much better. I
Mm-hmm.
had a mother-in-law who was my savior,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the best decision I made was him.
Mm. Yeah. And you do, and also you said, in your house, your mother-in-law and your husband worked hard to, redesign the house to allow you to work. So, what were some of the things they did that really helped you?
So, my father in law, who passed away very young at 51, before we got married, he was a lawyer himself.
Mm-hmm.
And because he was a lawyer, he had to have a library of his own at home
Mm-hmm.
because, you researched at home. So she kept that for me
Mm-hmm.
for years. She was quite convinced that I would get married to my husband. And I walked into a fully functioning library.
Uh-huh.
She basically, every time my hours used to get crazy, would say, "You've forgotten how hard your father used to work."
Mm.
So that was always something that my husband couldn't answer
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
But I think the whole environment at home where I could have a separate space for my secretary, for my library, for my
Mm-hmm.
dictation, the ecosystem around me at home, because you came after court and then you wanted to be with the kids unless you had a conference with the seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that she and my husband were fully supportive of. And even
Mm-hmm.
today, after she's gone, I still have a nice office at home so that
Yeah.
if I have to go home or if there's weekend work, it's
Mm-hmm.
all accepted that there is a workspace for me, which is my
Mm-hmm.
own and which I
Mm-hmm.
can function in efficiently, which is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Now, how did your parenting, from what you inherited from your parents, translate into the way you've been a parent? Now, your daughter decided not to be a lawyer. She's a designer, etc. So, was there? How was it? How were
No, so I
you?
have three daughters.
Yeah. Okay.
One is a designer and makes
Yeah.
furniture.
Right.
The other one studied law and went to law did her JD from America, did her New York bar,
Mm-hmm.
worked in a New York law firm, came back, joined our firm, but basically popped her own three kids. And I
Uh-huh.
think subconsciously she decided she didn't want to be the bad mother I was. And so she is now not a lawyer. She's in our firm, but looks after business development,
Mm-hmm.
but not in the rat race, as she calls it.
Mm-hmm.
My third daughter studied film from NYU in Tisch.
Right.
So
Yeah.
only one really wanted to do the law, and I suspect I probably forced her to do it.
Yeah.
But right now, I have no lawyer in the
Mm.
family in the next gen.
Yeah, yeah. And in terms of you've done a lot of cases, and I mean many famous mergers, acquisitions, all kinds of things that traversed different aspects of law, different disciplines in a business, etc. Is there, like, of all the things that you worked maybe earlier in your career or later, were there one or two cases, one or two things that really stand out for you that was the toughest, or that made you feel like I'm glad what I'm doing?
It was the early years when I was in court,
Uh-huh.
where nobody was really interested in briefing a young woman. And I
Yeah.
used to take up all these free public interest litigations
Mm-hmm.
where the clients couldn't pay for it. So you had to do it for free. So when
Mm-hmm.
they got a free lawyer to argue, they would pick you.
Yeah.
And those were cases where you had such a battery of seniors on the other side because you were going against builders,
Correct.
developers.
Yeah.
And then you were arguing
Yeah.
and you had to hold your own in
Mm-hmm.
a very tough set of opponents. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where the judges always looked after you.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
would say, let her speak. She's right. She
Yeah.
made this point. Don't shout. Don't
Mm-hmm.
interrupt. And if you had your facts right, and
Mm-hmm.
if you said it right, you won.
Mm-hmm. But is there, I mean, is there anything, or maybe even if it's not your case, like when you think of India, you've seen it from typewriters to now AI, so um, was there something that you worked on that stands out for you that
Couple
really
of
gave you
things.
your break? Yeah, or
Well, but in court, I think the break I got was when I argued the public interest litigation case against Pratibha Building,
Mm,
against Om Chambers, against Zia Housing Society. All of these were illegal FSI violations, which then ultimately
mhm,
were ordered to be demolished.
mhm,
In the corporate world, I think my first real assignment that influenced me came from the Tatas
mhm,
when they were buying a company called Nat Steel. And
mhm,
that had offices all over the world:
mhm,
Vietnam, Thailand, Singapore,
mhm,
uh, I think in Australia, I'm not sure, but in all the South Asian countries. And
mhm,
then I started working with an international firm But our firm was the project manager, our firm was the leader. And
Mm-hmm.
that made me so much aware of how little
Mm-hmm.
exposure I had, how much more I needed,
Mm-hmm.
and how I could actually understand laws of different jurisdictions and take those learnings away for the next deal and the next deal and the next deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now when you look at it, there's AI and there's, like people say, half the accountant jobs, half the lawyer jobs are all going to go away and all that stuff. And I mean, I'm a big believer in forever and ever human factor will be needed. It's
I
never,
agree.
everything we do can't be predicted by a
But
machine.
as a law firm, you get even more worried, right, as a managing
Yeah,
partner, because
right.
what if the damn thing hallucinates?
Yeah,
Then what if you don't do your own work first and just get it checked by an AI system?
yeah.
And if you just take that AI output and just pass it on, and nobody is looking at it again to verify down the chain, it's a
Mhm.
huge worry for a managing partner. Huge worry.
Yeah, yeah.
So even though we have Harvey, we're very clear that our junior partners have to do the first cut as if there's no Harvey. And
Mhm.
then you can roll out Harvey to look at it from the top. And Harvey is getting better by the day, and so
Mhm.
will the other systems.
Mhm.
But I don't think there's any substitute for the human mind.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, are you seeing, do you feel, I'm sure you mentor younger students and all that kind of stuff. So, is there something you're asking people to train themselves more in terms of not just, AI, but like its repercussions? What are the things you have to worry about it? And if because of advice given by a robot, if someone dies, who do you sue? Like there's so many things that are coming now because of technology that we've never thought about. Um, in what way do you want the younger generation to train themselves better, or what do they need to do?
A combination, right? First of all, they should be more tech savvy than I am, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But really, what they need to do is to learn the law,
Mm-hmm.
not by asking your neighbor who's sitting next to you, to
Right.
understand the fundamentals of the A and the B and the C.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell the youngsters that if it doesn't sound logical, it's
Mm-hmm.
probably wrong. Because
Mm-hmm.
law is logic. So if
Right.
you've not gone logically and done the dots correctly,
Mm-hmm.
go back, look at it again. Don't look at some output. Don't look at what somebody's told you.
Right.
Even today, if somebody comes to brief me and they don't come with all the material, starting from A is for apple and B is for ball,
Mm-hmm.
I don't accept it. They have
Mm-hmm.
to start and teach me from the beginning so
Right.
that I know what the building blocks are and I know what their thinking has been on the building
Mm-hmm.
blocks. Because
Mm-hmm.
the client is coming to me ultimately for a go, no go. It's at that
Right.
level. And
Mm.
I can't give that go, no go unless I know how the thought process has gone and I agree with it.
Yeah, right, right. There's a question that we have saying, how can India strengthen corporate governance and ethics at the board level?
So I think it's much better than it was before, for sure. And I think part of it is what my mother always taught me: don't love God, fear God. And
Mm-hmm.
so the fear factor is important
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to not wanting to see your page, your name on the front page of the newspaper for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I think they also realize that there's better value if you are better governed. Your stock price is better, your investors can rely on you more. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think slowly, slowly, corporate India over the last 20 years has understood that good governance is frankly now essential.
Right, right. Uh, there's another question about what are the three ingredients every leader must have? Sort of maybe three, maybe two,
I
maybe
would
five.
say
What are the?
fairness, to be seen to be acting fairly and to act fairly,
Mm-hmm.
um, honest, so that you don't give people false hopes or don't mince, don't pussyfoot around.
Correct.
Talk, but talk straight.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing is to be inclusive. to
Right.
take everybody's opinion, to want to know what they think, to
Mm-hmm.
understand which are the factors which you've not thought about, not to
Mm-hmm.
think that you are the end all and be all of every decision which has to be right just because you made it. To be
Right.
consultative and inclusive. And the fourth one is just to let everybody know you love what you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And another one, do you believe India is ready for stronger whistleblower and compliance frameworks, and what might that look like? I'm
I
coming
think
closer
uh,
because I have to read it. I can't find my glasses. So,
I think you'd be surprised at how much whistleblowing exists.
hmm.
We are officially the largest whistleblowing country in the world.
Mm.
And
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Is it because we just have most numbers, or as a percentage, we are
We
also?
just like to complain and we like to whistleblow. And there is often no fire without smoke. And
Mm-hmm.
so, most companies, once you receive an email, it is what I say you've become pregnant. You
Mm-hmm.
have to then investigate whether that investigation leads to something or not. The investigation is critical.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the whistleblowing policy is adopted by most of the firms, most of the companies,
Mm-hmm.
and there are hotlines. And, as Indians, we're very smart. We don't bother with hotlines. We
Mm-hmm.
just go to the website, find out the global CEO's email address, and whistleblow.
Yeah.
Now, so how is whistleblowing doing? It's doing very well.
But I
Uh,
mean, it could also be that, hey, I'll go along with you as long as I'm in the company, but if something happens, then I'll whistleblow. That
we
could
see
happen.
many whistleblowers after they've left the company.
Yeah.
But what does it show you? That
Right.
as management, you always have to be concerned that if you are doing something wrong, there can be a whistleblower.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything wrong, why should there be a whistleblower?
Yeah.
So that drives you to be better governed, just
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't have to face these whistleblowers, because ultimately the investigations are not funny.
Right. Right. Yeah. There's a bit of a long question from Aheli. She's saying, wanted to ask a question about Indian women lawyers and advocates. She's a qualified lawyer and gone to become to get the council and shifted more to corporate and also relocated to a foreign country for better opportunity because the gender gap and women's safety. Especially, I came across male counterparts or seniors not enabling or empowering a woman wanting to grow in their career. Should should not the lawyers should empower instead of pushing down women with low salary or not providing the correct
A
opportunities?
question is the answer, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but I think, even abroad, there is
Mhm,
a class ceiling, even today.
mhm,
I think that it's our fault in a way. We don't demand what we ought to demand.
mhm,
We're seen as, will we be seen as aggressive? Will
mhm.
we be seen in a negative light? But there's a way of putting it, right? You don't have to go and stomp on the table. You can just
Yeah.
put the facts and say, this is what I've delivered. This is my capability. This is how I'm
Mhm,
talented. I think you could recognize me a bit better. I would be very grateful, blah, blah, blah. I
mhm,
think the gender bias is subconscious. I
mhm,
think what most people are now realizing in India and abroad, that
mhm.
talent is at a scarcity, Lakshmi. And
Yeah.
so if women are talented, you
Mhm,
would be stupid to lose them, just downright stupid.
yeah.
And so the more male management is realizing that, the
Mhm,
more they are understanding that it is better to find ways of retention. And the ways of retention are so simple. It's a
mhm.
conversation as to what that woman requires to grow,
Right.
to
Right.
feel that
Yeah.
she's appreciated,
Mhm,
and to basically see how to push her
mhm,
in an ecosystem where she doesn't feel that her male peers are being given a better deal than she is. And the deal
mhm,
could not only be financial, the deal could be growth
mhm.
itself. So
Yeah.
I think that we have to ask, and management has to understand our talent. It's a two-way
Mhm.
street.
Right. Another question from Priyal is given your involvement in both domestic and cross-border deals, what traits do you think make a lawyer truly commercially intelligent beyond books and probably across borders?
be practical, to be able to tell the client sometimes what they want just isn't worth it, to give
Mm-hmm.
up points that are not relevant and trade them for the more relevant points, to be a
Mm-hmm.
facilitator, not to just think that you've won
Mm-hmm.
because you've fought and shouted and negotiated a point across the table,
Mm-hmm.
and to have the respect of the entire room,
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
side, the other side, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and here is another one from Marisa about what does power mean to you, and how should women redefine it for themselves?
Power for me is the ability to influence in the
Mm-hmm.
right way. Um, I don't think it's different for men or women. I
Mm-hmm.
think that because I'm the managing partner of a law firm, I'm in a position to use my power to influence
Yeah.
for women in a better way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if women do have power in that sense,
Yeah.
what they should really be using it for is for the greater upliftment of the women in their system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean, doing charity. That doesn't mean sometimes we are our worst enemies, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It means basically ensuring fair play, just fair
Mm.
play. And
Yeah.
that is what you asked me. What are the three qualities? The first
Correct.
one is
Yeah.
fairness. Fairness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here is from Namita, as someone who sees the corporate space evolve in India, not just legal profession. What do you think needs to be done to make workplaces more equal, inclusive, and empathetic? What can we do?
We can only keep doing what we need to do,
Yeah.
which is to, shout out that here we are, put our hand up, not
Yeah.
to go into a shy corner, not to just drop away because we don't have the ability or the confidence to
Mm-hmm.
voice our concerns and our needs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 49% of our women drop from
Mm-hmm.
the workforce. That's the statistics. That's how leaky our pipeline is.
Right. The
49
legal system, you mean, or in general? You're
in
talking
India, in
in
India.
India. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So, how do you do that? By allowing your points of concern to be taken to the right level and for the right level to appreciate
Mm-hmm.
instead of dishing you for coming with your concerns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I have to circle back to the beginning and ask you, you were at one point a very avid equestrian, man, I'm having a hard time saying the word. And, you were, I think you were a jockey for a while and
I
been
used to
doing
ride
lots of, you
amateur
used to ride
races.
amateur riding. So what are your, have you continued that, or what are your things outside work that you're engaged, or do you have
No,
a lot
that
of
is
work?
the real problem, Lakshmi. I
Yeah.
used to do a lot of things. I used to ride, I used to swim, I used to do sewing, I used to do cooking. My
Mm-hmm.
mother had me perfectly poised to tick every box for a marriageable woman.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I'm a Baha'i by religion,
Right.
and that is a very important part of my way of living.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, all I have time for today is work, try to meet the grandchildren,
Yeah.
spend more time, as much time as I can with my husband,
Yes.
and do as much work for the Baha'i religion as I can. I
Yeah.
have absolutely no time to go and watch a theater or a ballet, all of which I would just love to do.
Uh-huh.
But then weekends, the grandkids are around, there's work to be caught up on,
Mm-hmm.
husband needs to, uh, I need to chat with my husband, catch up with everything. So
Right.
the enemy is time in my life. The enemy.
On that note, thank you so much for your time, which
Not
is
at all.
very precious, and that's the best gift I could have gotten. So thank you so much for your time.
Most
Yeah.
welcome. And for
Yeah.
everybody who's in the audience, I can just say, don't give up when you feel down.
Yes.
Everybody does. Take a deep breath, take a couple of days off, come
Yeah.
back fighting. Just don't give up.
So when you face that, what brings you up? Do you go for a walk? Do you write? What do you do to get out of a funk.
I get my husband to take care of me.
Yeah. Great. Take me out on a date, like make me forget.
Exactly.
That's the advantage of marrying your best friend. You can
Exactly.
demand to be taken care of.
And he happily does. So that's
Yes,
even better.
yeah. So thank you so much for your
Not at
time,
all.
and thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.